6 is meditation. Correct? Mantra 6 is meditation. What is the actual clarification? What is the relevance of meditation in relation to this Achintyam, Avyaktam, Anantarupam, etc.? How is that connected to meditation? We have seen, I have discussed at the very preliminary spiritual growth. It is Ishta Devata Dhyanam. You worship God with your a form. You ask God. The answer is God is Shiva. And you worship Shiva. You worship God. What is God? And you are told Shiva is God. Vishnu is God. And then you worship on Shiva. That is infancy in spirituality. Thereafter, what is the purpose of that teaching where you are taught God is that one form? One is when you focus on a form, your capacity to focus increases. There are hidden reasons. One is, it is called Chitta Ekagrata. Focusing ability becomes sharp. You are able to focus. Second is Chitta Shuddhi. Both are pertaining to the mind. One is the purity of the mind. Another is the focusing capacity of the mind. Desires brings about a focus, but purification will not happen. When you have a strong desire to pursue something, you will be very focused. When you have a strong desire to pursue something, you will be focused. But that focus will not bring about a purification. Chitta Shuddhi doesn't come out of that focus. Here, two things we are attempting. One is the focus, another is purity. You need to have focus and you need to have purity. That is why it is called Chitta Shuddhi, Chitta Ekagrata. Purity, don't worry about the Sanskrit words. I'm just giving Sanskrit words and don't keep asking clarification on the Sanskrit words. One is Shuddhi, purity. Second is focus. Likes and dislikes will give you a focus. But does that make you pure? Likes and dislikes, when you are pursuing your likes and dislikes, it gives you a focus. You want to pursue the master's degree, the boy is focused. But that doesn't bring him. Focus doesn't bring about purity. So here we have to have focus. At the same time, purification also should happen. That both can happen only when divinity is brought in. Only when the divine is brought in, purification as well as focus. Both can be achieved only when divine becomes when divinity is brought in. Otherwise, it is just general focus, which everybody has when they are pursuing a strong desire. Are you able to follow till now? So God becomes, you have a Ishtadevata Dhyana or Ekarupa Ishvara. All these are one and the same. What is God? Na Shiva is God, Rama is God, Vishnu is God. And you will think God means only that. God means only that form. God cannot be in any other form. And then you gain knowledge and understanding, Shravana, Manana. You evolve into an understanding that God is symbolic of that form, but God is everywhere. The entire universe is God. You understand that. Through Shravana and Manana, not by simply repeating Rama, 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 this understanding will not come. Through Vedantic knowledge, what do you understand? God is not restricted to one Rupa. God pervades the entire universe. So from Rupa, God becomes more of Achintyam, Avyaktam, Anantarupam and all that. Are you able to follow? So when you say Achintyam, Avyaktam, Anantarupam and all that, don't take it as intellectual concepts of God. Those are all the way in which God has to be meditated upon as in your previous notion of God in a form. Are you able to follow the development of thought? You need to follow the development of thought. I don't know. I will know whether they are following or not. Yeah. So, first is you have a form, and all the concept of God will be restricted to that form. All the concept of God will be restricted to that form only. Second, and then you understand God as more pervasive. When I say more pervasive, all that is God. Now all this is God comes through Shravana and Manana. Are you able to follow? So before coming into Vedanta, you will be focusing on God, you will be meditating upon God, you will be doing everything to God in relation to a form. And then you come into this knowledge, you move into, and then when you come into this knowledge, you move into understanding God as Achintyam, Avyaktam, Anantarupam, etc., etc. Here, God is seen as Vishwarupa Dhyana, where Vishwarupana, not you seeing in over, not seeing God in over, that is not Vishwarupa. Movila Pakara Mari Vishwarupa Kadayadu. Yeah. This entire Vishwam, this entire universe is God's Rupa. This entire Vishwa means universe. Entire universe is God. You try to see the entire universe as God. Why it is very important is because the possessiveness towards God also has to go. The possessiveness towards God also, otherwise you are possessive. See, mind simply leave one object of possess. It will leave one object and it will take up another object to become possessive. But mind has to be possessive. First, it will be possessive over the world of objects and beings. It will leave the world of objects and beings and it will turn possessive over God. That is why anybody criticizing that God, you will get very upset. Anybody not accepting that form as God, you will get very, are you able to follow? You will get very agitated, you will get very disturbed, you will get very worried, and because mind turns possessive. Shravana, Manana, and all that what will happen, you will get associated with the Guru and you will turn possessive over. You will turn attached and possessive to that Guru. It doesn't make any difference. Possessiveness remains. Possessiveness remains. Vedantic knowledge keeps on clipping that possessiveness. Keeps on clipping that possessiveness. And how does it bring how does it clip it? It clips the possessiveness by bringing in a universal vision. What is that universal vision? Divine is everywhere. Divine is everywhere. Divine is everything. Instead of, you can go on keeping repeating divine is everything, divine is everything, divine is everything. Beyond a point, you will not be able to understand what is that statement means. So what they do, they go into this description of Achintyam, Avyaktam, Anantarupam and all that. So each and everything has to be taken and carefully reflected upon and understood as divine. What is meditation? I defined it. Ananya Chinta is meditation. Ananya Chinta about God is meditation. At one stage it is form, at another stage it is universal. Don't say formless. Don't say formless, because when you say formless, that formless becomes a form. That is why we don't say formless. That formless becomes a form. I worship God. I am a formless worshipper of God. And then a formless worshipper of God. That becomes that formless. God is formless becomes another form. That is why we don't talk about God as formless. This thing you will never see God as, we will not call it as formless. We will call it as Vishwarupa. All forms are God only. At one stage, God is restricted to one form. At another stage, God is in all forms are nothing but God. Why do we say that? Because it is easy to imagine, it is easy to restrict God to one Nama Rupa. Rama and Raperla God Vichachan, it becomes easy because there can be so many non-Ramas. One Krishnana, there can be so many non-Krishna. So it becomes very, very easy. But then it is divine everywhere. When we say it is divine everywhere, carefully follow. We will not say it is Rama everywhere. The moment you say Rama, it is one form only. The moment you say Krishna, it is one form of Krishna only. You can't say Krishna everywhere. That is why, not like in movies. In reality, it doesn't work. Since we are all talking about, since we have no clue to what growth is, and we are talking about this, we imagine it would be. We also imagine it would be like this. It won't be like that. It will not be Krishnas everywhere. The moment the universality comes in, it will turn into Achintyam, Avyaktam, Anantarupam. Of that, Krishna is also one form. Rama is also one form. Are you able to follow the development of thought? It will not be Krishnas everywhere. It will not be Rama everywhere. He will not say all are children of Rama. Abdina Ravana also will become all are children of Rama, na, immediately Ravana also will become children of Rama only. Na, after that, you really don't know what you are talking. That is why when we move into a universal vision, it is no more a form, it is Achintyam, Avyaktam, Anantarupam, etc. So when you understand these things, normally what happens is in the scriptures, all these are treated separately. In one Upanishad, in one mantra, all are packed in one mantra. That's why the difficulty is. Generally speaking, Ekarupa Dhyana. See, Ekarupa Dhyana is a subject matter of the subject matter. It is a huge it is a huge complete science of Vedanta. It's a huge complete science of symbolism itself. What is that Ekarupa Dhyana? First, what they will do? First, they will create a statue which is made of wood or stone or metal, and then they will do prana pratishtha and invoke and make a god descend on that. Then only it will turn into God. Correct? First it was made, first it is wood. Okay. When we do Ganesh Puja, we do first we bring in Ganesha from the market. When we bring in Ganesha from the market, he is only an idol, mud. Ganesha varlanga. So what do we do? And then we have to do an elaborate process, an elaborate ritualistic process of making Ganesha to descend. Remember, these are all very important. These are all not superstitious rituals. These are all not superstitious rituals. These are all not, it is very necessary at one stage, because focus comes on that idol about divine. To bring in the focus, only all this is brought. Why I am saying is, see, that would be treated as a separate subject in one textbook. One mantra, you will not find everything packed. So you do prana pratishtha. When you do prana pratishtha, God descended, and then you welcome God, and then you praise the God. And how do you welcome God? What all God, you welcome God, and then what do? You wash the feet of God, arghya you do, and then you decorate the God, beautify the God, and then do stotra to that God, as the ashtotra. Yeah. You are this, how great you are, how great you are, how great you are. 108 times you have to say how great you are. 1000 Sahasranama means 1000 times saying how great you are. After listening to all this, God is tired, fatigued, he is hungry, and then you have to give him what he likes. Yeah. Krishna Jayanti na Sida Murku Gudugunu. And then Ganesh Chaturthi, you have to give Modaka. All this, remember, all this is not to be ridiculed. All this is not superstitious rituals. All this brings a chitta ekagrata, a focus it brings on divine. Otherwise, you do all this to whom? See, anyway, you will be doing all this. Who do you do all this to? Another human being, no? You praise another human being. You want to please another human being. You want to satisfy another human being. Why? Because you want something in return. Instead of transacting with another human being for a selfish, self-centered purposes, what they did, they brought in divine. Interact with the divine. Much better than interacting with another human being. Divine. And then what happens? The tendency of the mind is to get stuck here. The tendency of the mind is to turn possessive, is to get stuck, and it will start focusing on all the non-essentials. What are the non-essentials? Seed eppadi pannanum, modaka eppadi pannanum, you distracted into non. So when they are getting distracted into non-essentials, Upanishad comes and criticizes you. Upanishad will come and criticizes you and says, get back, come back on track. What is coming back on track? Remember the purpose. Remember the purpose. What is the purpose? To see divine everywhere. When you see divine everywhere, you see divine everywhere is inclusive of you. When you are seeing divine everywhere, what happens to you? You see divine in you and everywhere. Finally, only divine exists. There is no you seeing divine and all. So, at one level, meditation happens through actions. You have to do a lot of activity to bring in a focus. And then you become focused minus the activity through ideas. That is Avyaktam, Achintya Rupam and all that. And then you come to sound silence. So this Avyaktam, Achintya, Ananta Rupam and all that helps in terms of helps in turning meditative. Helps turning meditative. Worshipping God with the form, along with sadhana chatushtaya sampat, preparing yourself and all that is for Shravana and Manana. And then after Shravana and Manana and all that, what you do, which is in the true sense. Meditation in the true sense. What is meditation in the true sense? Getting single pointed, becoming single pointed on a chant. Right through the vision is, right through the idea is to get to that point. So two things is very difficult. What are the two things that is difficult they are trying? One is they have to give you a point of focus. And when they give you, when a point of focus is given, the mind will get attached to that. So they have to give you a point of focus. At the same time, ensure that you don't. At the same time, you have to. It has to be ensured that you do not get attached to that. And finally, come to the sound silence matra amatra meditation. Realize the self. Therefore, what are we discussing now? Avyaktam, Achintya, Ananta Rupam and all that. What kind of meditation it is? It is meditation in terms of universal vision. Instead of focusing on a form, you move towards Vishwarupa. To bring about that, these explanations are given. Are you able to follow? Is it okay? Purinjida? We were studying mantra 8. Sabrahma Sashiva Sendraha Soksharah Paramaswarat. all that. Shiva means auspicious. All that is auspicious. All that is auspicious is Shiva. All that is auspicious. Now, is there something that is inauspicious also? If there is something auspicious, now there has to be something called inauspicious also. Whatsoever you call as inauspicious also is auspicious. Such Shivaha. So there is what exists is only auspicious. Shiva. Such Shiva. Indraha. Sa Indraha. Indraha in the sense we have said that. Indra means the Indra in the very Indriyani Rajaha. The one controller of the Indriyas is the Indra, which is the mind. So God as somewhere external is auspicious, but mind, no, mind is also auspicious. But you said mind has this thing about getting attached and all that. How can that be? How can that be auspicious? We have to make an effort to recognize the auspicious. That is why he says it is unmanifest, it is hidden. If auspicious is obvious, if auspicious is pratyaksha, Vedanta is not required. We have seen this any number of times. If auspicious is pratyaksha, we don't need Vedanta, we don't need Shastra, we don't need a guru. For your own eyes can tell you what it is. But here, what your eyes cannot tell you, and what your eyes seeing is not what the truth is. Yeah, that is where it is difficult. Are you able to follow? Sa Brahmaha, sa Indraha, Saha, Saha. Omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. That's all. At one level, it is Sagunaha. God is Saguna. At another level, it is Nirguna. At one level, it is Saguna. At another level, it is Nirguna. So, Upanishads liberally talks about both. It will not say, now I am talking Saguna, and it will not talk. Now I am going to talk Nirguna, it will not talk. It will liberally talk. Now you, Pashyati, Sa Pashyati, whoever catches it. It will not say, Ippo, I am going to talk about this. Ippo, I am going to talk about this. He doesn't talk about it in that way. Are you able to follow? That Brahma, that Nirguna Brahman is what is manifesting as Sa-Brahma. That Nirguna Brahman is what manifests as Sa-Brahma. So Brahman Sollumbodhu, you immediately understand he is talking about it on a practical sense of what we see the world. What we see the world when you see something, first thing is idu yaar pannanga. When you see something, the first thing that comes to you is creator. Idu yaar? Sa Brahma. It is the Nirguna in the form of Lord Brahma created. Saeva Vishnuhu. Sa Brahma, Saeva Vishnuhu. Who's maintaining all this? The same Brahman in the form of Vishnu is maintaining this. Who is ensuring that changes are happening? Sashivaha. Saha, Saha, Saha. Na? That Saha is Nirguna, and that Nirguna has these various expressions. Now, don't ask how the Nirguna came into Saguna. Don't ask that. We are working backwards from Saguna to Nirguna. He is taking you from what you see to there. He is not bringing you down from Nirguna to Saguna. He is taking you from Saguna to Nirguna. Remember that. Explanation purpose, we have to talk as though it is coming from there to here. But actually it is not coming from Nirguna to Saguna. He is saying Saguna is what you are seeing. From Saguna, he is taking you to Nirguna. So first he talks about the manifest part of the world and say everything is Brahman, and then he will go and say unmanifest is also Brahman. He is not saying from unmanifest came manifest. He is not saying that. He is saying first the manifest, the prapancha, Vyavaharika. The manifest is what? The manifest is what Brahman is, and then the unmanifest is also Brahman. Because you would restrict Brahman to manifest. You would restrict Brahman to manifest. Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara is the three natural forces of Srishti, Sthiti, Laya. Vedanta, Srishti, Sthiti, Laya. Srishti, creation, Sthiti, maintenance, Laya, destruction. To an intellectual, you can say Srishti, Sthiti, Laya. To a devotional, you say Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. Words are different, but the method, but what they are trying to convey is the same. And then the fight comes, whether it is Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara or Srishti, Sthiti, Laya. Kaivalya Upanishad says, both of you go back to Shravana. Both of you go back to Shravana and start all over again, because it is the same thing. Tasya kartaram api mam viddhi kartaram avyayam. Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Tasya kartaram api mam. Know me to be the karta and I didn't do anything. Know me to be the, then you will feel like asking Arjuna one. Then we will become like Arjuna only. Say very clearly, are you the doer or non-doer? In the same verse he says that Tasya kartaram api mam viddhi akartaram avyayam. I am Srishti, Sthiti, Laya, Karta when I associate with Mithya. When I associate with Mithya, I become the Srishti, Sthiti, Laya. Idella romba technical. Idella Upanishadilla or custom. In a Gita, technical. We don't need to go so technical in Bhagavad Gita. Upanishadilla, this is the technical. When the Nirguna associates with the Mithya, immediately takes the form of Srishti, Sthiti, Laya. So, ஒரே ஆளுதான், same thing. From one angle, he is Brahma. From another angle, it is Vishnu. From another angle, it is Shiva. Indra, the same thing plays the role of Indra. Sapranaha. You can take it as he describes in Vedanta treatise, you can take it as the Pancha Prana. All that is Brahman. Kalaha, time. Brahman itself is time. Sa Agnihi, he is fire. Sa Chandramaha. In short, all devatas are the different manifestations of one Nirguna Brahman. Atma Bodha, he says, the water is pure. Whatsoever it associates with, it takes that. It takes the property. So when Brahman comes in one rupa, one vesham, yeah, all devatas and classic Upanishadic style is devatas. Classic Puranic style is gods and goddess. Remember this. Classic Puranic style is god and goddess, god and goddesses. Classic Vedic style is devatas. So what these people did, these Puranic people, they made the gods superior and devatas inferior. Yeah. So what they did, they made the gods superior and devatas are inferior to the gods. Therefore, devatas are all demigods, semi-gods. But beyond all this is Brahma. Sorry. Beyond all this is Vishnu. Beyond all this is Shiva. They get into that one. To ensure that you don't get into these kind of things, he says, it is Akshara, it is Swarat, it is Paramaha. Same mantra. Same mantra, he is talking about the Devatas and also he is talking about the real nature. What is the real nature? Actor stage la paakumbodhu oru vesham illaya, avare green room la poi paatha eppadi irparu? The same fellow in the green room, how he will be? Swarat, Swarat, Paramaha, Aksharaha. So the topic, manifest as well as the unmanifest. It comes in one form and it also exists minus these forms. What is that? Swarat. Swarat means self-effulgent. Swarat. Paramaha, supreme. Supreme of what? Supreme means that which cannot be absolutely described by Nama Rupa. That is supreme. Paramaha, supreme, means that which cannot be perfectly described through Nama Rupa. Nama Rupa gives only a limited understanding of it. So Paramaha means that which cannot be understood through Nama Rupa. That's Paramaha, supreme. Supreme, not supreme to Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara inferior kadayadu. Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara is a Nama Rupa explanation of Brahman. Anything that is explained through Nama Rupa is limited. And Brahman is Paramaha. It can be Vishnu, it can be Shiva, it can be anything. And then finally he said, Aksharaha. Aksharaha na nasame kadayadaduk. It doesn't go through Kshara. That is Akshara. Na Akshara iti Aksharaha. Allah root. That's a Sanskrit root. That which doesn't perish. That which doesn't diminish. While Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva are all subject to modification. Brahma ku or timeline irukku. Yeah. Vishnu also keeps changing. Shiva can destroy, but he cannot maintain. Vishnu maintains, but he cannot destroy. Are you able to follow the limitations? Here it is. That alone is real. So he is talking about Devata form and also saying it is beyond that. Brahman is Saguna and Brahman is Nirguna. And please understand, Nirguna is Anirvachaniya. Nirguna is not another property. Yeah. Indescribable is the way God can be described. No, sir. Anirvachaniya, indescribable is not another description. Indescribable means words cannot. Yatvacho nanivartante tadham paramam mama. Where words do not reach me. So Nirguna means that which cannot be described is Nirguna. Otherwise, what happens? 10 times you hear Nirguna, 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 you kind of started, I have seen quite a number of people doing that. Quite a number of people get into that. They believe that God cannot be described is the definition of God. Yeah, God cannot be described is not another definition. God cannot be described means equipments cannot comprehend. So where the instruments cannot comprehend is the crux there. Instruments cannot comprehend. Na? How do we know that? It is Swarat. It is self-effulgent. Where is your problem? Yajnavalkya tells Maitreyi. It knows itself by itself. It knows itself by itself. It knows itself by itself. That is what is called Paramaswarat Aksharaha. So don't take Nirguna as another definition. Don't take Nirguna means that which is superior to Guna. It is not that. Nirguna means in the sense of indescribable. Mantra 8. Now we move on to Mantra 9. Mantra 9 reads, Sa eva sarvam yad bhutam yaccha bhavyam sanatanam Jnatva tam mrityumatyeti nanyah panta vimuktaye. Sa eva sarvam yad bhutam yad bhavyam sanatanam Jnatva tam mrityumatyeti nanyah panta vimuktaye. There is no other way to liberation. Nanyah panta vimuktaye. There is no other means for liberation. But naanga liberation e kekliye sir. We are not asking for that. Where is the Nanyah panta vimuktaye? What is it? He alone is. He alone. Saha. He alone is all that has been and shall be. Again, he alone is, he alone is all that has been, comma. He alone is all shall be. Past, present, future. Eternal, Sanatanam. Having known him, the Saha, whoever knows that Saha, having known him, one transcends death. Nanyah panta vimuktaye. This is the assertion of the Upanishad. This is where this is what makes it an Upanishad. Nanyah panta vimuktaye. There is no other means for liberation. There is no other means for, I will come to that later. No other means for liberation. First. He alone is real. We have seen this any number of times. The definition of reality. Trikala existence is real. Trikala existence is real. What is Trikala? Past, present, future. That's what Trikala is. Past, present, future. That which exists in the past continues to exist now and will exist now and will continue to exist in the future is called real. What is meant here? That which existed in the past in the same form, which continues to exist in the present in the same form, will continue to exist in the future in the same form is real. That which existed in the past in one form, which exists now in another form, will continue to exist in the future in some other form is unreal. So, reality ki rendu irukkum. One is, it has to be there at all periods of time without modification. Without modification. Where do we get the definition of the reality from? The definition of the this is what reality is. Where is the definition from? These kind of verses gives those definitions. These kind of verses gives those definitions. He alone is everything which was in the past, which is in the present, and which will be in the future. So past, present and future it is the same. Whoever knows him transcends death. There is no other means for liberation. Shankaracharya takes this, so many Upanishads has this declaration. There is no other means for liberation. There is no other means for liberation. Shankaracharya takes all this and he puts it very beautifully. Knowledge alone is the means for liberation. Knowledge alone is the means for liberation. Rest are all preparation for knowledge. This is how it is derived. Are you able to follow from where we get all this? Knowledge is that which gives you liberation, and you need something to prepare. You have to do something so that you get qualified to receive the knowledge. Qualification to receive the knowledge is, we have seen that any number of times. I'm not going into that details. Qualification to receive the knowledge is Karma Yoga, Sadhana Chatushtayam. All that is what is preparation for gaining knowledge. And then do all this Maitreyi. Yajnavalkya says this in the Upanishad. Do all this Maitreyi, and then you will know Brahman through Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasitavyaha, he says. So the Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana is the path for moksha, is told by Yajnavalkya to Maitreyi. There is no other means for liberation. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Sa eva sarvam. Sa eva sarvam. Sa eva sarvam. Nah, you can't escape that. The pot cannot escape clay. The ornament cannot escape gold. Clay can be without a pot. The pot cannot be without the clay. Everything about clay, everything about pot is nothing but the clay. Saeva sarvam. Saeva sarvam. Yat bhutam yaccha bhavyam sanatanam. Yat bhutam yaccha bhavyam. All that existed in the past is Brahman. All that is existing now is Brahman. All that will exist in the future is Brahman. Jnatva tam mrityum atyeti. Jnatva tvam mrityum atyeti means by knowing that Brahman, you conquer death. See, conquering death means not being a victim of time change. That's what it means. Not being a victim of time. Time is called Kala. Kala means time, Yama, death. All means the same. The word kala means death. The word kala means yama. The word kala means time. What is the connection between time, yama, death? All are one and the same. All are one and the same. Time is illusory. Time is illusory. You need to have some thing to understand. Time is illusory. I have a lot of time. I have a lot of time. The present time. All this is illusory. Illusory means it appears to be there. On deeper scrutiny, it is not there. It appears to be there. Time, present, past. From this moment, backwards, past. From this moment onwards is future. What is that moment? Even before you can say that moment is changed. And yet we all know that there is something called present. Yeah, adha kala. It is illusory. Time is illusory. Death is also illusory. Death is also illusory. The greatest illusion of life is death. For there is no such thing called death. It's only a change. The greatest illusion of life. Always understand this. Always remember this. The greatest illusion of life is this thing called death. Nothing dies. It only changes. The moment you understand this, you have conquered kala. You have conquered death. Death is seen as the end of something. Death means something comes to an end. A person living for 60, 70, 80 years is not there anymore. Ended. Death. The person lived for 80 years in what was the condition before 80th, before the first year, before the birth? People say, after death, what happens, sir? After death, what happened before birth? Exactly the same thing happens after death. If you want to know what is after death, you need to know what is before birth. If you want to know what is after death, if you want to know what is after death, you need to ask what is before birth. Before birth, we don't know. We don't even want to inquire that. Nobody wants to inquire before birth. Everybody wants to know after death where he would have gone, where he will be, in what form, how can I help him now? You are a victim of Kala. You don't have the basic knowledge of life and understanding. If you want to inquire about the death, you need to inquire before birth. Raj Shankar came to me 10 years back. 10 years back he came. 10 years, Raj? He came. 8 years. Ganesh correcta solta. 8 years back he came with the question. I want to understand death. Raj, you remember? Because he wants to do research on that. Death. So he bought Kathopanishad book also. He bought Kathopanishad book. He got the whole lot of Kathopanishad CDs. Seal kuda pirikala. Not even opening the. Oh, he came. Wow, I want to inquire about what is after death. I told him, same thing I told him. See, after death, you want to know what is before birth. What brought in, if only you know what brought in, then only you can know what got you out. So something brings you in, keeps you here for a while and takes you. So when it is brought in, it is called birth. When it is leaving, it is called death. It means there is no such thing called birth or death, arrival and departure. Arrival and departure. There is no full stop. Nothing comes to an end. That is why it's called Kala Chakra. This Kala is also a chakra, a wheel. The purpose of life, the mission of life is to move out of this chakra. To move out of this battering that one gets with time. What is the battering? Infancy, teenage, youth, middle age, old age. Again, infancy, womb. You can't miss that, no? Womb, infancy, teenage, middle age, old age, death. Again, in this cycle, what is birth and what is death? Therefore, the greatest illusion of life is something that is born and something that is going to die. He says, nothing is born, nothing dies. It's a constant flux of change. It's a constant flux of change. And this Yama is also known as Dharmaraja. Yeah, this Yama is also known as Yama Dharmaraja, no? Because he establishes Dharma means he ensures that the law is followed. He ensures that the law is followed. What is the law? What is the law? The law is changes keeps happening all the time. Even before you can say present, the present becomes past. The illusion of time, Swamiji gives, he said once, illusion of time, when you dial, இப்பெல்லாம் டயலிங்லாம் வேண்டாம், இப்படி போன்லயே பார்த்துக்கலாம் இல்லையா? Previously, if you want to know that time, you have to dial. இல்லையா? மனோகர் தான் கூப்பிடணும். டைம் தெரியணும்னா அவரை தான் கூப்பிடணும். BSNL இல்லையா, அவர் கூப்பிடணும். What is the time? What is the time now? At the time of dialing, the time was. You ask, what is the time now? They say, the time was. ஏன்னா ஈஸ்னே சொல்ல முடியாது. You can never say is in relation to time, and yet there is something called is. Time is. Either you go mad or you get enlightened. இந்த மாதிரிலாம் பேசிட்டு இருந்தா வெங்கடாச்சலம். Only two things will happen. Either you will go mad, இந்த மாதிரிலாம் you will go insane. As it is insane, will become more insane, or you get enlightened. There is no other way to liberation. Nanyah pantha vimuktaye. What is being the victim of time? All are victim of time. What is being victim of time? Victim of time means fear of impermanency. That is victim of time. Victim of time means fear of impermanency. What all gives fear? Profession gives fear. Yeah. Anxiety is associated with career. That's fear. Anxiety is associated. Then possessions. Fear, anxiety relating to possessions. Will I get it? Will I get it? Anxiety. Hope I don't lose it. Hope the value doesn't diminish. What is the word they use? Every year the value goes on decreasing, no? Depreciation, that should not happen, and it should go on increasing. Family, anxiety related to the welfare, permanent welfare. Are you able to follow? The permanency in profession, the permanency of profession, the permanency of possession, the permanency of family's welfare. All this is a victim of kala, because all these are subject to change. All these are subject to change, and this change affects, disturbs. Having known him, one transcends death. This is what it means. Having known him, one transcends the fear of profession, possession, family. Professionally very satisfying. I had a very satisfying career, sir. Possessions also okay. I'm not that greedy. Family, I have done my duties. From now on, I follow Vedanta. They all have developed wings. They are all responsible. But That bodily pain that I'm going through now, the knee pain and the headache and that backache, the knee pain that I'm going through is what is? Yeah. Are you able to follow? Down the line, some deterioration, some change keeps. Some change affects. What is liberation means? Liberation means these things happen and these happenings do not bother you. This is liberation. These things happen and these happenings do not bother you, disturb you. எல்லாம் ஒழுங்கா இருந்ததுன்னாக்கா dementia, no? Sir, the last 1 year, I could see that fear in my father. I was a very courageous man, and I could see the fear of, because he started forgetting a lot. He never had it as a disease, but then it started happening, and that caused fear. So Yama will not leave you in some way or the other. He holds you. Down the line, it keeps changing, and these changes do not bother you. That's what is meant by having known him, one transcends death. Jnatva, knowing is the only way for liberation. Atmabodha. Knowing is the only way for liberation. And I have said this any number of times. Knowing is becoming. Knowing in Vedanta means becoming. That which seems to destroy you is that which saves you also. Time, which is supposed to be the tyrant, is the same time that protects you also. That is why we say time heals. Time heals. Time heals. So, Kala is that which is a tyrant and also a savior. He is the tyrant and he is also a savior. It all depends upon which side you are, that's all. Tyrant or savior. It all depends upon which side you are, the tyrant or the savior. Kala is mithya. Kala means mithya. And what is liberation? Understanding the mithya as mithya and giving it the right value is liberation. Understanding the mithya as mithya. Once you understand the mithya as mithya, you give it the right value. You will neither run behind it nor you will neglect it. Right value means what? Neither you will neglect it nor will you chase it. run behind it. This is called knowledge, and this alone liberates. Na anyaf panta vimuktaye. There is no other method other than jnanam. Is there any other solution? Okay, sir, maybe you belong to the Jnana group. That is why you are saying. Is there any other solution like yoga for moksha? Is there any other method like bhakti for moksha? Is there any other solution also for moksha? Ore vyadhi ke allopathy, ayurveda, homeopathy, madrila, you can't try. There is only one. What? Na anyah panta vimuktaye. Knowledge alone is the solution for liberation. Are you able to follow? Knowledge. Otherwise, people think there are very many solutions for liberation. Of the very many solutions for liberation, knowledge is also one. Kaivalya Upanishad says, or Upanishad says, knowledge is the direct means for liberation. Na anyah panta vimuktaye. There is no other method other than knowledge. It does not mean the others are useless or wrong. Please understand that. It doesn't mean the others are useless or they are wrong. The others means the bhakti, the karma, the yoga, and all that is chitta shuddhi. All these are preparatory practices to gain knowledge, and moksha comes through knowledge. And what is moksha? Liberation. The duality of you and God are separate goes away. That is jnana. That is moksha. Moksha means you and God are different. You are inferior, God is superior. That duality goes. You and God becomes same. That is moksha. Sariya? Na anyah panta vimuktaye. There is no other means for liberation. Why he is saying that is, right through people believe there are very many paths. And nowadays it's a very big fashion to say, no, all religions, the goal is one. All take you to the same thing. All do not take you to the same. These are all nice, big, flowery statements. Ultimately, all are saying the same thing. No, sir. All are not saying the same thing. How can all say the same thing? Dvaita says you and God is separate. Moksha says you and God is one. How can all say the same thing? All are not saying the same thing. In the clarity la varnu first. All are not saying the same thing. But in the name of liberality, in the name of being very open-minded, we say, ultimately all religion says the same thing. No, they don't say the same thing, because what is moksha? Now there are so many different schools of thought. Vedanta is another school of thought. That I will talk about it later in some other context. There are so many schools of thought. Vedanta school of thought. It is not like that. It says that Dvaita Bhava goes. What is the Dvaita Bhava? You and God are different. Tat Tvam Asi. Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. You and God are separate goes. Siriya? With this, we conclude for today and we continue the next session. Mantra 9. Hari Om.